Hey guys, my name is Bando, this is Brexit Bando, and today I thought I would just ramble on for a bit about how I personally would change Warhammer Plus to become a product that actually has some more value. Now, I don't currently subscribe to Warhammer Plus. I've actually never subscribed to Warhammer Plus. I've seen all the content on it through other means, and I will quite happily say that if it continues on the course that it's on, there is little to no chance of me ever subscribing to Warhammer Plus. And I think that's a shame, because Warhammer obviously is the primary hobby I have out there. It's the thing I do the most, and it's the thing I've apparently decided to create a second job out of. So I really should be super hyped about a streaming service extra subscription thing that expands my hobby. The problem is it doesn't expand my hobby in any way, really. And it's because it just generally doesn't provide enough value, in my opinion. To some people it does. To certain people, the unique miniature you can purchase is worth the yearly price tag. When I can get said same miniature for £3 from China, I disagree. So here's some ideas, in no particular order or level of importance, for what I would do to improve Warhammer Plus. Now, obviously, the first one is drop the price. I'm not going to touch that. We'll keep the price as it is, and we'll just look at increasing the value of what you get out of it. So one of the first things I would say is that the animations are not primarily the best thing on Warhammer Plus. In fact, they're one of the worst. The first thing I would do is I would actually take the animations off of Warhammer Plus, and I would put them straight onto YouTube on the Warhammer YouTube channel, because I want as many people out there seeing them as possible. I want them updated regularly. I want as many normies who have no idea about Warhammer to talk about it, to see it, to ask questions. What is this? What's going on? I want YouTubers talking about it. I want as much exposure through that. And I don't want to paywall that behind an expensive niche service. To replace the lost value, though, you do need to add something. So for that, I think the most important thing is the historical data that Games Workshop has. So one of the first things I would do is the creation of a comprehensive database of every single miniature ever created by Citadel Miniatures, Marauder Miniatures, Games Workshop, Forge World, sortable by faction, by size, material, release date. All of those sorts of things I would include. Who sculpted them, who painted them originally. If you've got links to articles of how a certain colour scheme was painted, it would be there. You'd have links to articles. Anything related to that model would be in this database. Tied into that database would be the made-to-order system. Now, we have a made-to-order system at the moment. Every now and then, Games Workshop will pick a random selection of models and go, "Oh, hey guys, these models are coming back for made-to-order," and they'll shit out a bunch of classic models, 3 times more expensive than they were the last time you saw them, and they'll be there for a week. And if you want to buy them, you might just get them, or you might miss out. I would do a made-to-order run once a month that runs for the entire month. And then each month, at the end of the month, last week of the month, whenever, every person who has an active subscription to Warhammer Plus would get to vote for the set of miniatures being done next month. And you'd have a fixed set. Set A might be Lord of the Rings. It's a bunch of Rohirrim Lord of the Rings models. Set B might be classic 3rd edition Chaos Space Marines. And set C might be Warhammer Fantasy High Elves, for example. And everyone gets to vote, and whichever one wins, that's going to be the next one. It gives them some value, gives them some power, and the opportunity to purchase models they may want. Regular feedback surveys. There is very little back and forth between Games Workshop. They have the illusion of a community where actually they have a marketing website where they talk to you, they dictate to you. They do not really accept much comment back. You can see this with the fact that they've only recently churned the comments on their videos. A regular set of feedback surveys, like we get one a year sort of thing, smaller ones. Are you happy with the current state of, Warhammer 40,000? Do you like how the Overwatch mechanic works? Do you think this thing could work better? 5 or 6 questions once a month just pops up. There you go. A high definition database of all the Warhammer artwork. It doesn't, take much. If you're worried about people printing out your artwork to make their own posters, I'm sorry, they're already doing it. They'll do it with the low quality stuff. They'll do it anyway. But good, high quality artwork available. Every single White Dwarf. Every single one. This should have been a day one thing anyway. Okay, maybe put a 6-month lead time on it so that you've got the most recent ones aren't available. If that, 3 months maybe. But basically, every single historical White Dwarf in its entirety should be included in a good quality, high definition scan. Separate out all of the classic White Dwarf terrain packs. You used to get cardboard cutouts that you would get in a White Dwarf that you could take out and then cut out to make like an Orc watchtower when Gorka Morka was released. House of Build and Empire Townhouse is another one I remember. These things would be great to have as a separate bundle, and you should be able to filter through all of this database. I just want relevant stuff to 2nd edition. I just want Space Marines. I just want the Orc articles. I only want to see stuff between 4th edition and 5th edition. Again, I get that many of these things would take time, investment, and effort. But what you are doing here is building a tool and a resource that is available to your most die-hard fans. Like an official wiki. An official, absolutely canon, well-maintained database of everything, like a wiki. This is this character. They appear in these books. If you want to, here's links to purchase all of these books. Here's links to the audiobooks. Here's links to his model on the storefront. Here's some artwork. Here's any relevant things. Here's a link to a White Dwarf article about this character where we made homebrew rules for him back in 1996. Talking about historical stuff, the rule books should all be on there with the rules. And I'm not just talking historical. If you are a paying Warhammer Plus subscriber, you should have access to all the rules in a digital format. Everything. Rulebooks, expansions, data cards, codexes. People will still buy physical codexes. They want the books because they look pretty on their shelves. More tutorials, more painting tutorials, more kit bashing, more terrain building, that sort of thing. Get the community involved, get content creators doing stuff, do whole series with with the studio painters, the army painters. Basically, what Warhammer Plus should be is kind of what White Dwarf used to be. If you put some effort into this and you put this content out there, it doesn't matter if you actually jacked the price up to cover the cost as well, because if the value is there, people will still subscribe. The miniature that you get for subscribing for the year is actually a pretty good idea. But there's one other thing I would do, and I think this is probably the one that would get most people involved. And that is, once a year, if you have a year-long subscription, you should also get a voucher for the web store. Not like a voucher, but a code. Like one-time use, 35-40% off anything that you can purchase through the web store. And yeah, people will put off buying certain things. Absolutely they will. But you're also looking at getting an absolutely huge injection of cash when people do that. Remember, Games Workshop's staff discount is 50%, and they will still be making enough profit off of that to make it viable. So a 40% discount from not even the entire customer base, once a year, where most people will be making a large purchase, would be absolutely fine. You would shift a lot of stock. Actually, that's another good idea. Have a discount section that you can only access through the Warhammer Plus website, where you take stock that is, end of life, maybe it's not shifting, just drop the price by 10-15%, put it up there. Maybe more than 10 or 15%, make it 25% so you beat the third-party retailers. But yeah, put that up there, and you can only get access to that through being a member of Warhammer Plus. Oh yeah, the Gretchen, kit isn't selling too well. We'll pop it up on the discount section of Warhammer Plus. Sell a couple of 100 boxes to people. Clear out some shelf space. Now, I know Games Workshop doesn't do sales, and I know probably hell will freeze over before that ever happened, but this is just me spitballing ideas, and that is something I would do if I was in a position of power there, because I think it is important now to give value back to the staff, to the customers. We have milked the proverbial cow dry. The community is running low on everything. Willpower, will to live, money, time. Everything has got so more expensive. People are going to be looking to cut costs left, right and centre. So the only thing you can do to make sure people stay subscribed is increase the value. And to me personally, I don't see the value being there at the moment. It doesn't harm you as a company to say have the 4th edition rulebook with the rules on Warhammer Plus. People are going to play 4th edition anyway. They'll go and get a copy of the rulebook from eBay if they're interested in playing 4th edition. But if they've got it on Warhammer Plus, they'll just get it from there. And then, you can obviously have a link to all of the available kits that would be suitable for an edition appropriate army. There's lots of stuff there, lots of space, lots of interesting ways to provide value to your customer there. Let me know what you think, guys. I mean, as I said, I'm not a subscriber to Warhammer Plus. I don't really have any interest in it because I don't see the value. Do you think it's got a value? I know several of you do. Several of you mentioned it before that you like it. But do you feel that these things that I've suggested would add more value? Or would they all be bad? Let's have a conversation in the comments. Alright guys, if you want to support the channel, like, comment, subscribe. We're getting close to 2,500 members, which is pretty wild. Yeah, I really appreciate everyone that comes along, all the comments we've had. The Discord has been an utter war zone the last couple of days with so many new members. And, it's great to see some new faces. Thanks for watching, guys. Have a great day. Bye-bye.